Hi everyone, my name is Punkster. I'm a Dead by Daylight streamer and creator of Saved by the Fog. Saved by the Fog is a project dedicated to raising awareness and giving recognition to chronically ill Dead by Daylight content creators. With July being Disability Pride Month, I wanted to create something to show the Dead by Daylight team just how much being in the fog means to the disabled community. Moving forward, we would also love to have the team incorporate Disability Pride Month into their content calendars, just as they do with other marginalized groups, and help give recognition to the disabled creators within the community. Now, without further ado, here are some words from some incredible disabled content creators. See you in the fog!
Hey, Dead by Daylight.
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 Hi!
Hey, Dead by Daylight.
Hey, Dead by Daylight.
My name is B.
Bedoms.
Princess.
Christian.
Jill.
Lily Good Demon.
Invik Plays.
Oktara.
And I was saved by the fog.
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 I have a couple physical conditions, including POTS, peripheral neuropathy, Hashimoto's disease, PCOS, and lichen sclerosis. I also have some mental health conditions, including PTSD, OCD, ADHD, anxiety, and depression. I have been creating Dead by Daylight content since the start of this year, and the community has helped me find community in what is otherwise a very isolating existence. Due to my own mobility issues and the still ongoing pandemic, I can't leave my house very much, so I turned to the internet for socialization and community, and the Dead by Daylight community responded in kind. One thing that I find so important about disability awareness is understanding that many conditions tend to be variable, where people's symptom levels and capacity can change from day to day. This is so important to keep in mind when interacting with people with disabilities, whether physical or mental.
I have a slew of both physical and mental disabilities. I have had depression since I was about 6 years old. I have severe insomnia, severe anxiety, and it wasn't until less than a year ago I was also diagnosed as both autistic and with ADHD. On top of that, I have degenerative disc disease in my neck and in my lower back, as well as 3 herniated discs in my lower back, which cause a pinched nerve that affects my use of my left leg at times. I have fibromyalgia, which not only causes pain, but it intensifies existing pain, as well as causes fatigue. I haven't worked in about 6 years now. After a couple of years of doing almost nothing all day, it really starts getting to you, so I decided to become a streamer. About a year and a half into it, I found Dead by Daylight, and it honestly changed my life forever. I was in a really deep depression, and the community really just accepted me with open arms. Just having a place where I finally felt like I belonged has given me new purpose in life. I also want people to be aware of maybe not just their own disabilities, but others as well. You don't always know what somebody's going through. So by raising awareness for disabilities, you make people be much more aware of their own bodies and of their surroundings. That ultimately is what's going to save lives.
I started playing Dead by Daylight in August of 2020 because, like most of us at that time, I was looking for a way to spend my time indoors. After my first match, I instantly fell in love and soon started making Dead by Daylight content. As someone who's been chronically ill and disabled my whole life, I was saved by the fog because I finally had a place where I felt like I truly belonged. I was able to spend time with people and hang out and do things that my body previously prevented me from doing. I was born with various illnesses and disorders, including thalassemia, dysautonomia, ADHD, and really, unfortunately, a handful of other diagnoses, and I'll just spare you the long details on those. Through streaming and sharing my content on various platforms, I was able to build an incredible community and make amazing friends, including some very best friends with whom I spend an incredible amount of time in the fog with. Dead by Daylight became the place I could go to feel motivated, determined, spend time with friends, and express a creative side of myself to share with others. During Disability Pride Month, and really every month, I'm so passionate about bringing awareness to how important accessibility is to disabled people. It's not always our disabilities that hold us back, it's the inability to access things the same way able-bodied people do. Because when the world is more accessible, everyone thrives, and that is so important. And being a part of the Dead by Daylight community gave me access to opportunities and social environments that had been accessible to me due to my illness.
I am a 22-year-old LGBT streamer from the UK, and I'm also neurodivergent and disabled. I took some pretty bad injuries early on in my life. I was run over a couple of times, had a 5 kilogram weight thrown at my head, and that basically left my body in a very bad state. So I can't work, but this is where Dead by Daylight came in. I've been doing streaming Dead by Daylight for about 2 years. I can't go out, and I don't go out, as I was saying, because I don't have the physical strength to. So I don't see people, I don't socialise, and this is where 90% of my entire interactions with people in general is with the Dead by Daylight community. All of my friends that I have at the moment, I've made through Dead by Daylight. My socialising people I go to for advice, to people I look up to, they're all through Dead by Daylight. I'm only able to be so open, even about my disability, etc. I was always open about it on stream, but not so much on my public platforms, because I didn't really know how to. But seeing Punkster, the person who is running the Saved by the Fog thing, be so open and so candid about it and so honest, really just helped me. That alone is why disability awareness is so important, because there's so many people with so many different levels of even just the same disability that are so vastly differently affected, and then there's invisible disabilities, etc. And it's not enough people are told about them, are educated on them, or care to even go and look. So when you have somebody like that, or in general, that can expose these people to it, it's very progressive, and it helps everybody. It helps the community, it helps those of us that are able to then coexist with us and make things easier for us and just help us out.
I started streaming about 3 years ago when my health took a turn for the worse. At first, I played a lot of my favorite RPGs, but my community really started to see growth when I added Dead by Daylight to the roster. Even my boyfriend and I's first date was in Dead by Daylight. As someone who can't really leave the house for fatigue or the possibility of fainting, I was able to connect with and spend time with friends I otherwise wouldn't have met. Being disabled more often than not means isolation, but finding communities with shared interests or where others are going through what you are going through has been the best thing to happen to my mental health. And disability awareness is important to me because more often than not, we're the odd ones out, even if we are in greater numbers than organizers often realize. If we're thought of at all, it's often as an afterthought. And I think that's a hugely wasted opportunity because the disability community is not small. It's not a subsection that can be ignored. We're about 15 to 16% of the world's population, and we deserve to be at the table too.
So, for the purposes of this video, I want to talk a little bit about a couple of my disabilities. I have several, and I'm not going to go over all of them because, man, ain't nobody got time for that. But I do have fibromyalgia, which is categorized as a widespread chronic pain. The other disability I have that I want to talk about is attention deficit disorder, and how Dead by Daylight has helped me with these things. So, I started playing Dead by Daylight a couple of years ago, and I started getting into content creating for Dead by Daylight about a year ago. So, the fibromyalgia, as I covered, means I'm in pain all the time, which is not fun. And it means sometimes it hurts to even play games, because sitting upright is painful, or moving my mouse is painful, or doing anything is painful. So I need something that's kind of low stress in that regard, physically at least. So Dead by Daylight, low impact physically, and but I can still run and vault and heal my teammates and lift people off of hooks and do all these really cool things that I can't normally do because they hurt too much to do anything even remotely like those in the real world. And with the ADHD, Dead by Daylight has a lot of micromanaging things going on. Like if you play Survivor, there's always something to do. You know, you're trying to do these objectives, and if you're playing Killer, you're trying to juggle like all of these people. And it's just really cool because I can focus really, really well when I'm playing this game in a way that I can't normally focus, and I really, really like that. Disability awareness is super important because I want everyone who's watching this to understand on a long enough timeline, every single person watching this will become disabled. Like, If you live long enough, you will become disabled, because becoming disabled is a part of getting older. It just happens naturally to people. Like, even if it's something as innocuous as your eyesight getting worse as you get older, because that's gonna happen. Even something as simple as that is a disability. But a lot of people have that particular disability, and we deal with it by giving them glasses or contacts, and then nobody worries about it. Now, can you imagine a world where every disability is accommodated for in the same way that poor eyesight is? I think it's really important, because I want to normalize people talking about their disabilities so that other people understand how common it is and how impactful it can be.
I'm a gay black disabled variety streamer on Twitch, and I've been playing DBD for over 2 years now. And the reason why I feel like it really saved me is because it gave me a community of people that during an isolation, during a time where I was alone, I finally felt like I could belong. During this time, I was struggling with anxiety, depression, and I have a bone disease, XLH. And with my bone disease and during the COVID pandemic, I was isolated and I was becoming more stagnant, which became a lot more physical and having problems with pain. Playing DBD gave me an outlet, a way to refocus my mind on something else, and it also gave me a community. So even though in real life I was isolated and I may have been in my house, I was with a community of people, with other people who were going through the same experiences as me, where I didn't feel alone, where I felt connected and supported. So it really not only helped me distract myself from, all the physical pain, but the mental anguish I was going through, it really helped pull me through that. It didn't just distract me, but I think it really healed me. It saved me. Seeing the way that the DBD team and community came alongside the LGBTQI+ and POC community meant so much for me inside and outside of the game. Knowing that this team of people wanted more, not just for the game, but for everyone as a whole, made me feel seen and made me feel heard. And I know that the people in the disability community as well want that chance just as much. Knowing that DBD stands with us and supports us as well is going to do so much to empower those with disabilities in so many ways, just like the POC and LGBT community. I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to see something and work with you all in the future.
Having bought the game in June of 2021, I fell in love with it for having so much variety, lore, and challenges. When talking about my disabilities, I usually forget one or two as they're just there all the time. My main physical one is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which means all my joints hurt and dislocate without warning or cause, and it comes with other conditions that affect my stomach and my nerves, so I live with a lot of pain from being unable to move, so the distraction of gaming is always nice. I use a wheelchair but try and walk around the house when I can. I also have autism, ADHD and dyspraxia, which means I can hold a lot of information about my special interests, but also have a lot of trouble with coordination and motivation if I don't get significant enjoyment from something. Dead by Daylight's kept me going when I had a job that I hated. It gave me motivation and joy that I could carry into my work. I'd play matches in the morning with a nice cup of tea to get my day started. And when I couldn't sleep, I'd play games and watch content creators who'd make me feel like I wasn't alone. I've met so many of my best friends through DBD and its community of incredible people and content creators making safe spaces for gamers like me. Whenever I felt lost, useless and hurt, it's been the people in the fog hyping me up and making me smile. Disability awareness is so important to me because small changes can make such big differences to people. In accessibility, and the more we know about folk and the challenges they face, the more we can widen the goalposts and make sure everybody can be included in day-to-day life.
Thank you so much to Dead by Daylight, and I will see you in the fog.
Thank you for letting me share. I'll see you in the fog.
Behavior, thank you for making this game an incredible place to be. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the fog.
Thank you, Dead by Daylight, and I will see you in the fog.
Thank you to Behavior and Dead by Daylight for providing a community for me to join when it felt like I was alone. See you in the fog.
I hope that everybody stays safe in the fog, and I'll see you in there, okay?
Thank you so much, DBD, for all that you've done and continue to do, and I'll see you in the fog.
Thank you, Dead by Daylight, for giving me so much good in my life for the past 2 years, and I'll see you in the fog.